weird as that sounds. And I don't care how they, it's updated, they cleaned up the animation, it's crisp and perfect in HD, 4K, whatever. I'd rather watch the one on like the old film on VHS, because it's perfect that way. As weird as that sounds. Like, it's kind of like how it is with comic books. Like, people say you can read it on your phone, your tablet, iPad, computer. Hell, you can read a comic book on your fucking TV. And I did that, and that was weird. That was weird, though. Like, reading it on my Amazon Fire Stick, I'm like, I have to like walk up close to the TV and be like, huh. But it was just, it didn't feel authentic. So that's kind of how it is. Like, I love watching Sub-Zero on VHS, because it's authentic to me. It's like something special. And for me, Mr. Freeze is always that character that he shouldn't be. He's the one character that should be like, a whole film should be about him. Like, I would love to see, like, as funny as it is, I would love to see a Mr. Freeze standalone film like The Joker. Because he is a very fascinating, complex character. And I don't really view him as a villain. I view him as a character that was wronged and decides to take revenge. Not really revenge, but vengeance. And, when I seen like Batman and Robin, which we talked about, by the way. Joel Schumacher talked about it, and it was a really dumb interview. And Batman and Robin was a film that I don't have hatred towards it, because I'd rather watch that than the Titanic. It's like, people are like, you want to watch the Titanic? No, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin. That is a Titanic that is happening the entire film. And for me, it's always, it's one of those films that is so dumb you can't help but watch it. It's like The Room. It's so bad that you have to watch it to believe how bad it is. And, I just, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I got an email on my phone. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze is awful. It is awful just to watch this guy play this character. And it's hard to believe, like, back in the day, like back in the 70s, he was considered one of the actors to play Superman. Like, Sylvester Stallone, yeah, I could kind of see it. Like, even though, like Stallone said, I wanted to play Batman. I didn't want to play Superman because Superman's boring. which is pretty cool, because Sandy Colora, who did Batman Dead End, did a sculpture of Sylvester Stallone as Batman, like the cowl and all. And when you look at the sculpture, it is really fucking cool. Like, you look at this, you're like, yeah, he wouldn't have been a bad Batman. He would have been pretty interesting, but And then the fun fact you learned is, like, he was close to playing Batman in the short film Batman Dead End, but backed out of it because his agent got pissed at him for it. But, it kind of would have taken the fun out of it, because when you look at the, short film, you had Batman fighting the Joker, then you had Batman fighting Predator, then you had aliens show up, the alien from Aliens, show up. And when you watch all of it, you're like, yeah, I really like this film and direction. But if you had Sylvester Stallone, and you had Mark Hamill, who was going to play the Joker, because Stallone was going to do it, Hamill was going to do it, they would have taken the whole, they would have taken the whole thing out of it. Like, what I mean is, they would have taken the whole amazement of the film out of it, because people would be like, holy shit, Sylvester Stallone is Batman, Mark Hamill is Joker. And you wouldn't notice Sandy Calora's work. And Sandy Calora is a great director. He's one of those guys that I always feel like should have been given a chance, an opportunity by Warner Brothers. He would have made a great Superman film if given the chance and opportunity. He would have told you a great Superman story, great scenes, great direction. But they didn't. They just didn't give this poor guy a chance. And it's one of those things when you look at comic book story writers, like writers for comic book writers, artists, who are given opportunity after opportunity, chance after chance, and they keep fucking it up. And I am all for the Kickstarter, things for comic book, Indiegogo Kickstarters for writers and artists like your boy Zach on Diversity Comics, Micah Curtis, Ethan Van Sciver. The reason they do all those things is they wanted to make a good comic book, something great, good stories, good artwork. DC and Marvel and IDW and whatever comic book Image, you can't say Vertigo because that place shut down. You look at all these industries and all these companies, they keep hiring the same people. Like, if one leaves here, they go over there. And there's no new writers, there's no new artists. And that's why I said once, I wish that DC, Dan Didio, God rest his soul, but he ain't dead, don't do things if they did the whole 100-page Batman giant and Superman giant, Wonder Woman giant, and I seen the Wonder Woman ones, nobody really buys them. The Flash giant, same thing for Flash, which kind of sucks. Swamp Thing, I have the first Swamp Thing, and it was pretty good, not bad. I had the Halloween one, which I really enjoyed. But if you did all those giants, why don't you hire writers and artists? Hire unknown talent that is not known mainstream, but known on the indies. Why don't you hire them and be like, I want you guys to do your own stories, artwork and stories, do it original, new original stories for these DC Giants page books. Why don't you do that? Why don't you hire unknown talent in the mainstream market and just be like, we're going to give you guys these you guys are going to do stories and art, why don't you do it? Why do you go Bendis, need you to do a Batman, King, do Superman, God help us all. Why do you give these guys more work? They have their own books. Bendis has, I don't know how many fucking books, but he's going James Patterson on us all. By the way, for those who don't know James Patterson, that dude cranks out a lot of books. But the thing I'm saying is, a lot of these writers and artists are just given so much work, but they don't do the job. I I haven't read the new Batman comic. And I didn't read any more Superman comics ever since Peter J. Tomashi's left. And as much as I want to read those new books, I just don't want to do it. I know that sounds lazy, but I just don't want to read any books that I know I'm not going to like. Like, after The Nightmare Story, as much as Tom King bootlickers say that it was a great story, great miniseries arc, I just didn't want to read anymore. I just sort of was like, I don't want to do this. It just sucked the fun out of me of wanting to read Batman. And that's why I ended up buying like some old Batman comics. You know, I like reading Starman, the Jack Knight Starman comics, which are really great, by the way. I like reading them because they're fun. They're the supernaturally weird stories. Like, his brother died, who's the Starman, and they end up reconnecting on a pirate ship, which is like really cool. I really thought, like, man, that is a great story, and I just really liked reading it. I read them when I was preteen. I didn't know what I was thinking, but I ended up reading them again. I'm like, you know, I really like this story. I really like this character. But when I looked at the Tom King cover, and I looked at the Jack Knight Starman cover, one cover had passion and drive. The other had emo whining shit. I looked at it was the one cover where Batman calls Catwoman and he's like, she's not answering the phone. What is she doing? And I'm just like, I just look at it like, you know, why did I buy this book? And I start asking myself this question, like, why do I buy these books I know I'm not going to like? And I know that a lot of people love hearing comic book reviewers get angry reading the comic and stuff. It's like, why did I spend $4 plus tax? Even though the book says $3.99, but you know, it's $4 plus tax. Why did I buy this book? That's nearly $5, and I just hated it. I bought this Jack Knight Starman comic at a flea market in a bag of comics for $10. And I enjoyed it. I don't understand it. It's like, you know, comic books cost money. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going through financial hardship, which I'm not. I'm doing pretty good. I mean, this podcast is free. So, I don't understand why I buy this comic book that I just don't enjoy. Why did I waste my money on it? Why do people buy books who they know they're going to hate reading it, and all of a sudden get really annoyed that to the point where they rip the book up to pieces, which I didn't do, because I'm just like, you know, I paid money for this book, I'm going to have to suffer. But I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, Tom King, I know, is a writer, he's an author, he's, you know, a former CIA agent. At least he's not doing the, you know, Jesse Ventura, I used to be a Navy SEAL, and I was a governor of Virginia. No, wait, Minnesota. Sorry, Minnesota. I don't know who the governor of Virginia was. Wait, it was someone on the news I got mad at. I got mad at with them. And I know things that'll blow your mind. Like, That was an intro for conspiracy theories, which I actually watched that show. It was a really good show.